Alright, so in this video I'm just going to be going over Module 2 of SAT Practice 9 of the math module in Bluebook. So as you can see, our first question is what is the median of the data set shown? So as you can see, the numbers are ordered from least to greatest. And what the median is just the middle number of the data set. So if we count how many numbers there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we can see that the fifth number is the middle number. So that means 79 is our median. Right triangles L, M, and N and PQR are similar, where L and M correspond to P and Q, respectively. Angle M has a measure of 53 degrees. What is the measure of angle Q? So if the triangles are similar, that means the angles will always be the same. Just because they're different side length doesn't change the angle. So that means since angle M corresponds to angle Q and M are equal. So that means angle Q is 53 degrees. The table shows three values of x and their corresponding values of y for the equation y equals 4 times 2 to the x plus 3. In the table, a is a constant. What is the value of a? So all we're going to want to do here, go into decimals, change y for f of x, because f of x and y equal the same thing. So we do f of x equals 4 times 2 to the x plus 3. It's just asking us, what is the y value at x equals 3? So what we're going to do is we're going to do f of 3, and our answer will be 35. How many solutions does the given equation have? So as you can see, the equation on the left and the equation on the right are the exact same. So if they're the exact same, then any number you plug in, they're going to equal each other. So that means this system has infinitely many solutions. Because if you were to plug in like 1,000 to this, equal 900, equal any number equal. The model predicts that the population of Virgin was 15,000 in 2005. So our initial value is 15,000. The model also predicts that each year for the next 5 years, the population P increased by 4% of the previous year's population. Which of the following represents this model, where x is the number of years after 2005 for x less than or equal to 5? So this is an exponential growth equation because it's saying the population increased by 4%. So the equation for that would be f of x equals a, which is the initial value, times, since it's a growth, we're going to do 1 plus the rate divided by 100 raised to the x. And our rate, in this case, is 4. And our initial value is 15,000 as we previously stated. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to change A for 15,000. I'm going to change R for 4. Now if we do a little side note here, 4 divided by 100 is 0.04. So we're actually going to convert this from fraction to decimal form. And then 1 plus 0.04 is 1.04. So we're going to combine that. And let's see which one the answer is correct. So obviously no, this doesn't match up. No. Yes with the initial value, but the wrong thing is inside. So no. So D is our answer. Next question. The function h is defined by h of x equals 4x plus 28. The graph of y equals h of x in the xy plane has an x-intercept at a comma 0 and a y-intercept at 0 comma b. Where a and b are constants, what is the value of a plus b? So let's put it into decimals here. Let's write our equation. H of x equals 4x plus 28. So as you can see, our y-intercept is 28. And since b corresponds to y, then b equals 28. Now we're going to try to find our a. So we're going to see where the line intercepts the x-axis. As you can see, it intercepts the x-axis at x equals -7. So since a corresponds to our x value, then a equals -7. And our question is asking, what is the value of a plus b? So all we're going to do is add these two together. So -7 plus 28 equals 21, which is our final answer. Which expression is equivalent to 8x times x minus 7 minus 3 times x minus 7, where x is greater than 7? So there's two ways you can do this. If you know how to factor it, go right ahead. But if you don't want to factor it, you go straight into decimals. So I'll explain what we're going to do. So we're going to put in the original equation. And then divide this one by 2x. Oh, shoot. Divide it all. 2x minus 14. Alright, so this is our original equation. So as you can see, it's linear. So if you don't know how to factor, you don't want to do it. Since these equations or expressions are equivalent, then the right answer should look the same on decimals as the original one. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in each one to see which one's right. So x minus 7 divided by 5. That's obviously not the same, so we can cross it out. Let's try the next one. 8x minus 3 divided by 2. That matches up perfectly, I think. Boom. I don't even check the next ones because obviously not right. Boom, that's right answer. Circle A has a radius of 3n, and circle B has a radius of 129n, where n is a positive constant. The area of circle B is how many times the area of circle A? So when you see a question like this and it has a constant, and then it gives you these two numbers, you can actually, if you just plug in any number, you can plug in any number you want for n. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 1 so it's easy to simplify. And as a reminder, the area for a circle is pi times the radius squared. It's in this case, circle A has a radius of 3 because I'm doing n equals 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to do pi times, I'll write it n, so 3n squared, and we're going to write a little slider, make n equal 1. So the radius, or the area of circle A is 28.27. Now we're going to try to find the area of circle B. So since it has a radius of 129, and we're going to do pi times 129 n squared. And we have an area of 52,279.24. So to answer the question, so circle B is how many times? What we're going to do is we're going to divide the two. So we're going to divide the bigger one by the smaller one. So we're going to do 52,279 point, let's do 2 decimals, 24, divided by 28.27. And our answer is 1,849. Boom, that's our answer. And literally, to show you that this works with any value, I'm going to choose 6. I know it's a really big number, I'll type it out, but let's try it. And we're going to get the same answer. So we're going to get 1,882,052.76. And the other answer is 1,017.88. And you see how we still get the same answer? 1829. So that proves that you can manipulate the constant to whatever you want in this type of question. Okay. A circle has a center O and points RS lie on the circle. In triangle ORS, the measure of ROS is 88 degrees. So that central angle is 88 degrees. What is the measure of RSO in degrees? So it's basically asking us what is the measure of the other two angles, or the other angle. So I'll make a circle here real quick. Let's do this. Let's square. Let's make it decently big. So we have a circle here. And to visualize this better, I'm going to set a center at 0, 0. So near center. I'll move it. Center. And so I'm going to draw two lines. So I'm just going to set a slope like this. And then I'll set a slope like, let's go. So you see, just imagine it starting from the center. So ignore all this. It's all good. So you see, from center to the edge of the circle, and center from the edge of the circle, these lines are actually equal. So what that means is we're creating an isosceles triangle. And since this is our center, so this is center O, and R and S lie on it, the angle it's asking us for is one of the angles, like one of these two angles. So what you're going to do is, since those two angles are equal, and there's 180 degrees in a triangle, you can do 180 minus 88. This is not our final answer. So this is both angles combined. And so when you divide this by 2, you're going to get the angle measure for both of the sides. So 92 divided by 2 is 46, and that's going to be your answer. So key takeaway from here, all this did is creating an isosceles triangle, which means since you have the big angle, like the ROS, the central angle, then the other two angles of the triangle are equal to each other. So you can solve for the other angles by doing what I just did. A business owner plans to purchase the same model chair for each of the 81 employees. The total budget to spend on these chairs is $1,400, which includes a 7% sales tax. Which of the following is the closest to the maximum possible price per chair before sales tax the business owner could pay based on his budget? Okay, so we have the total number. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the answer choices. So let's multiply 81 times 148. 81 times 148, 0.15, 12,000. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take 7% of this. So we're going to do 12,000.15. And we're going to increase it by 7%. So we're going to do 1.07. And that does not equal 14,000. So that's not the maximum amount this is what we buy. So we're going to change the number which I beat. So let's do 161.5. So we get 13,083.9. And now we're going to do that 7% again. So 13,083.93 times 1.07 equals 14,000 or 1399. So this is actually going to be our answer because if we were to do this for the next ones, they would exceed 14,000. Let's see, it's already at 14,000 before sales tax, so that means the business owner cannot pay for it. So that means B is our answer. Our triangle has legs with has legs with of 24 centimeters and 21 centimeters. Sorry. If the length of this triangle's hypotenuse in centimeters can be written in the form 3 root d, where d is an integer, what is the value d? So what we're going to do is here, we're going to solve regularly for the hypotenuse. So obviously that formula is a squared plus b squared plus c squared. So since our two legs are 24 and 21, that's going to be 24 squared plus 21 squared equals x squared. So let's round to two decimals, so 31.89. So our hypotenuse is equal to 31.89. There we go. But now we're going to have to convert it to the form 3 root d. So what we can do is in decimals, we can actually just call dx. So we can just do 31.89 equals 3 square root x. And let's see what our answer gives us. Bam, 113 on the dot. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to zoom in, there's a trick you can do. So let's do shift. Oh, sorry. Do this tilde. Then we're gonna put a 1 after the x. And you see that's 113. It just gives us a little decimal. Our answer is 113 because it's asking for what's inside of this. So positive number A is 230% of the number B, and A is 60% of the number C. If C is P% of B, what is the following to the closest value of P? So this is a really wordy question, as you can see. So I'm going to dumb it down real quick. So A equals 2.3 times B. Because if you convert percentages, all you want to do is divide by 100. So 230 divided by 100 is 2.3. So we can change that to 2.3. And we're going to do the same for the rest. So A is 60% of C. So A equals 0.6 times C. C is P% of B. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do C equals, since we know the number, we're going to do P by 100. P. So we have multiple variables here. So what we're going to try to do here is solve for the variable. So we have C, B, and A. So we know that C equals P over 100B. That's what we're trying to solve for. But we know that A also equals 0.6 times C. So in this case, honestly, the easiest way to go about it is, I would say, 2.3B. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm actually going to do is, let's think about this logically actually real quick. So positive number A is 230% of number B. So actually what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add sliders. B, I'm going to make B a number. So let's set B equal to 100. So that means A equals 230 and B equals 100. And so then C is equal to this percent of B. So then actually, since A equals 230, because I set it to a random number, we can plug it back into this. So 230 equals 0.6 times C. So to solve for this, we're going to divide by 0.6. So 230 divided by 0.6 equals 383. And which one's our answer? Straight here. Bam. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Let's read this question real quick. This one's going to be confusing. So it's given that x greater than 0, function f. So the f of x equals 201% of x. Which of the following can describe this function? So obviously we're increasing because it's 201%, so it's greater than 100, so we can eliminate decreasing. Now the real challenge here is to analyze whether it's exponential or linear. So 201% of x means every value increases, f of x just equals 21% of x. So what I'm going to do is, remember last question we divided the percent by 100? So I'm just going to say f of x equals 21 divided by 100, which is 2.1 times x. And obviously we can see that this is a linear increase, so answer is going to be D. So next question. So we have the data table with x plus 7, and 13, negative 15. So the table gives the coordinates of 2 points on a line. The y-intercept is k minus 5, comma b, or k and b are constants. What is the value of b? So it's asking us what is the value of the y-intercept. So first we have to actually find how to get there, which I'm going to show a really easy way to do it. So as you can see, we have k and k plus 7. So basically we can call k 0, and we call k 0. So we're actually going to use the slope formula to find the slope. So we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to do negative 15 minus 13 divided by 7 minus 0. It's going to give us a slope of negative 4. So it's asking us for k minus 5. So literally, all we're going to do is, so you see how when when k is increasing, the y value is decreasing. So that means when k is decreasing, then the y value is increasing. So it's an inverse relationship. So that means if we have k minus 5, it's going to shift 5 units. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply 5 times negative 4. So 5 times negative 4 equals negative 20. But since the y value is increasing, we're actually going to change this to be a positive number. Well, actually, no, we can just do this since it was k minus 5. So that means the y-intercept is 13 plus 20. So that means b is going to be 33. Keating made 32 cups of vegetable broth. Keating then filled X small jars and Y large jars with all the vegetable broth he made. The equation 3x plus 5y equals 32 represents the situation. Which is the best interpretation of 5y in this context? So as you can see, y is large jars. So if you see anything with small jars, we can eliminate that. Small and small. Now don't get confused with A and C. So A is not the number of large jars. It's actually the total number of cups in the large jars. Because if you take the whole variable, 5y, that's asking for the total. But then the number of jars is actually the 5. So C is going to be our answer. All right. One of the two equations in the system of linear is given. The system has no solution. Which equation can be the second equation in the system? All right. So basically, what you can do is there's an easier way. You can actually just multiply these ones. So 3x equals 36y. And that's 1 5. We're trying to see which one of these equations does not intersect with this line. So let's see. X equals 4y. Obviously intersects right here, so we can delete that. 1 over 3x equals 4y. So x equals 4y. That does not intersect. So that's actually our answer. Boom. We're given x minus 29 equals x minus 9 times x minus 29. Which of the following are solutions to the given equation where a is constant and sorry, and a is greater than 30? Alright. So let's look at our answer choices. So if we have a, then what you're basically going to see is, so if you plug in a here, you're obviously going to get 0. So this side is going to be 0. But then since it's given that a is greater than 30, and say you have like 31, then this side is going to equal 2 or something greater than 0. So that means a is not a solution to the given equation. So literally, since answer choice 1 is in every single one of these besides C, we can eliminate all of these. And C is our answer. Pretty straightforward. And if you want to explain it again, like, think of it as, if you take 7 minus 7 equals 0. So a minus a is obviously going to equal 0. But then you have a minus 29 doesn't even matter. Something times 0 is going to equal 0. But then, since a is greater than 30 on the left side, we're plugging in the value of a for x. So it's going to be like 30 minus 29. Or no, like, do you have 30.0001? It's going to be greater than 0. So that means these two sides are not going to equal each other, which means it's not a solution, which means 1 is not correct. Okay. 1 gallon of stain will cover 170 square feet of surface. A yard has a total fence area of W square feet. Which equation represents the total amount of stain S in gallons needed to stain this fence twice? Alright, so we have W square feet, and so to stain it twice, what we're going to do is we're going to take W. Alright, so we have W. And so if it's twice, you're not going to be multiplying anything, you're actually going to be dividing because you're trying to see how much like fits. So these two are obviously wrong. Now you're going to look at it as So we have W square feet. And if you think about it, 85 is the answer towards D. So 85 is half of 170. So if you take 85 twice, then that's 2 times. So that means if you divide 170 by 2, you get 85. But if you take the surface area of your yard, your total fence, and you put it over 85, that means you're going to get um, two stains, is basically what it's saying. So this is going to be your answer choice. This doesn't work because that would mean you're only staining your yard once. Because you're going to be 170 instead of half of 170, which is 185, which means you need staining your yard twice. All right. In the xy plane, the graphical equation y equals negative x squared plus 9x minus 1 equals the line y equals c at the second input. What is the value of c? So basically what this is asking for, it's asking us to find the y value of the vertex in the answer or the equation. So let's plug this in. So y equals negative x squared plus 9x minus 100. So we have the vertex value of negative 4, comma, negative 79.75. So obviously we can see that this does not equal negative 79.75 and this does not equal negative 79.75. So let's try A and C. So negative 481 divided by 4. That does not equal negative 79.75. So that's not right. Let's try 319. Boom. That gives our answer. But to visualize this better, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to set y equal to this. And you see how it only intersects at the vertex? That's basically what it's asking us. So when I ask you a question like this, all you have to do is find the y value of the vertex, and that's your answer. All right. A quadratic function g models the depth in meters below the surface of the water and seal t minutes after the seal entered the water during dive. The function estimates that seal reached its maximum depth of 320 or 302.4 meters 6 minutes after entering the water, and then reached the surface of the water 12 minutes after it entered the water. Based on the function, what was the estimated depth to the nearest meter of the seal 10 minutes after it entered the water? All right. So you can model this by a vertex form. So the vertex form is f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. K being the y value of vertex and h being the x value. As we can see, the y value, which is like the maximum depth, so that's like the vertex of the parabola, is 302.4. So we can substitute k for 302.4. So it's actually minus 302.4 because it's underwater. All right. Now h, it reached that 6 minutes after. So h is 6. But our problem is we don't have a. So what you're going to actually do here is you're going to mess around with Desmos. So I'm going to plug in f of 12 here because I'm going to try to see what a value makes f of 12 equals 0. Because 12 minutes after the seal entered the water, it reached the surface. So I'm going to move this around until this equals 0. So what I actually like to do is I like to set the maximum to 100 and the maximum to negative 100 so I can guess a little easier. So I'm going to go really slowly. Oh, it goes pretty fast. Oh, 9. See? So I'm actually going to guess. I'm going to guess decimals. 1, nope. 2, nope. 3, nope. 4. Yep. There we go. We got it. You just always guess by 0.1 or 0.2. So this is our actual equation. So now it's asking us, what was the depth to the nearest meter of the seal 10 minutes after entering the water? So all we're going to do is we're going to put f of 10, and our answer is negative 168. But we can just enter this as 168 because it's already telling us that it's below. So that is our answer. And yeah, so make sure you memorize this so vertex form. If anyone needs a link or like a picture of it, I'll send it to you. But that's really good to memorize, and then mess around with the a value, or you can solve for it. But I feel like this is easier, and then find the given, and then find the answer. All right. The area of a rectangular region is increasing at a rate of 250 square feet per hour. Which of the following is closest to this rate in square meters per minute? All right. So if you take in chemistry, I don't know if you remember the picket fence, but that's basically what we're going to do. So we're given 250 square feet per hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this as a fraction. 250 divided by 1. Just to visualize it over here. So 250 is the square feet, and then 1 is like the hour. So 250 per hour. Then we're going to multiply this by uh, the conversion rate. So it's giving us that 1 meter is 3.28 feet. But we have to get this in square feet, in square meters. So obviously 1 squared is 1. So it's going to be 1 divided by 3.28 squared. Now, so as you can see, the 250 is square feet per hour. And then, or the 250 square feet. And this is also square feet. So that means the units actually cancel because square feet over square feet just cancels. And so we're left with square meters because of this. We're left with hours because of this. But then to cancel the hours, what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 hour over 60 minutes. So this is our minutes. This is our hour. These are essentially the same thing. It's just we're trying to cancel out the units to get minutes. So what we're left is, so since this is hour and this is hours, that cancels. So all we're left with is square meters per minute. And so you don't even have to do that actually. You don't have to worry about the units. You just worry about the answer. So our answer rounded is 0.39. So our answer choice is A. Yeah. All right. In the given pair of equations, A and B are constants. The graph of this pair of equations in the xy plane has a pair of perpendicular lines. Which of the following pairs of equations also represents a pair of perpendicular lines? So what we're going to do is we're going to solve for A. So solve for A and B. So this is an equation. The perpendicular to each other. So if we solve out for this, we get 7y equals 1 minus 5x. If we divide by 7 on both sides, we get 7 equals 1 over 7 minus 5 over 7 x. So basically what that is saying is this, the second equation, the slope is going to be 7 over 5 because negative reciprocal. So we have this. Now we're going to try to solve for that one. So I'm pretty sure all you want to do is flip the A, B values. So I'm going to do 7x minus 5y equals 1. And you see how I flipped this? Because you want to get the negative reciprocal. So if you were to actually solve out for this, it would be negative 5y equals 1 minus 7x. We're going to want to divide by negative 5. So we're going to get y equals negative 1 over 5. Since the negatives cancel, it's going to be 7 over 5x. Oh, plus 7 over 5x. And I'll leave it like this. It looks better. So as you can see, we have negative reciprocal stuff. So what I did there, so that means we can get so a equals 7, since we solved for it, and b equals negative 5. So we can literally cross these out because we already solved them. Now we're going to plug in these ones and see which one gives us a pair of perpendicular lines. So for 10x plus 7y equals 1. And then we'll put ax minus 2by equals 1. Obviously, these are not perpendicular, so we can eliminate them. I'm gonna keep the top choice though because it repeats again. So let's do ax plus 2by equals 1. Boom. Is perpendicular? They are. Boom. That's our answer. Now let's check the other ones to make sure they're not right. Let's do 2. Try C. 2. Not perpendicular. And now let's try the final one. Oh, let's try the final one. 5x plus 7y equals 1. Let's go. Ax plus by equals 1. Not perpendicular. Not our answer. Boom. So yeah, guys, that was basically it. If you need tutoring or help, I do usually 1.5 hours or 1 hour, just math. And if you someone need help with a grammar, I can do that as well. Um, but that's basically what you're gonna see on SAT. If you want to see a realistic version, I think practice test number 7 gives you the most realistic version of math and English as well. So if you're looking to do the March SAT, try to finish that last. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you need more, I'll help you as well.